G'day legends. I was just stripping an axle which I'm selling on to a fella later on tomorrow, and I was just thinking there was a post recently about removing the little cone washers. So I've done one about changing a CV a while back on the front axle, but I'm doing the rear axle, which is actually the easy one. And I'm working on this fairly old rusty-ish looking axle. It's pretty well seized up. You can see the bolts have been painted. I bought this about 5 years ago. It's been sitting around for a long time. So these have been pretty tight and seized up, about as painful as they get, really. So these are easy because they got jacking screws in them. That's actually a thread there, another one opposite. And it seems like, just judging by what I hear on the Facebook groups around the place, people don't realise you've actually got those jacking screws to work off. So I was just going to make a quick and rough video. It's going to be hard with one hand, showing you how you get these off. Now obviously I've got a few tools handy, but you can do all of this by hand if you have to. So you start by clearing out those threads. If I can get it while holding the camera. It's clogged with dirt. Obviously you don't want to drill oversize and ruin the thread. I happen to have a tap on me. It's a M8 by 1.25 thread. That's the thread you need, which is a standard metric coarse thread pitch. So pretty much any M8 bolt that you get off the shelf will be an M8 by 1.25. So you just want a couple of bolts, preferably high tensile for jacking screws, about at least 20mm long on the thread. As a guess, it's really quite hard with one hand looking at the phone camera. Just pay attention to what I'm doing for a sec. There it goes. So I'm just tapping these out with a tap because I got one. Some of you might find the threaded holes on your axles are okay. They seem to last alright most of the time. But these have just been clogged with dirt and then painted over and all sorts of silly stuff. Just make sure that's clear. Nice and squeaky. It's a bit gross. Alright, that's it. So, that's that job done. Just blow them out. Shit out of there. Alright. Now you want to loosen these nuts, 12mm for the older ones at least. Not sure about the later ones with the 10mm studs. So you want to back that off and leave the nut on there. Get off there, like so. See, that's just backed off. You can see there's the, whoops, where are we? The spring washer there. It's a spring washer, and inside here is a cone washer that gets everyone all upset. I reckon they're sort of a good thing. They just don't seem to be quite big enough for the task sometimes, that's all. So back that off. Sorry, this is going to be pretty raw and unedited, so you'll have to just bear with me. If you don't have an electric battery rattle gun, get one. They're the best. Now, that's that. So your jacking screws, these are just some little cap screws I had lying around. They're high tensile. Cap screws are generally 12.9 grade or something like that. What is it? Yeah, 12.9. They screw in there. One on that side. One on that side. Now you want to put a little bit of tension on them. Just tighten them up, kind of I guess as tight as is reasonable. You don't want to strip any threads or do anything silly like that, but you want a bit of force on it. Alright, now I'm going to do this the dodgy way because I'm holding a camera and because I don't need these studs. Normally you'd use a drift, a brass one if you have it. Bang it straight on the end of that, right on the end of the stud. These are aftermarket studs. You'll notice the factory ones actually have a little dome on the end to prevent the thread being damaged. These don't, and I don't care about them anyway. So you'd bash on that, but because I got one hand, I'm just going to use the hammer and just do it. You don't want to hit your jack and bolts. Give them all a knock, like so. I'd probably put a bit more effort in if I wasn't holding a camera, but this will have to do. You're going to tighten it up a little bit. You'll start to see the split line will start moving soon, either this time or the next. And you're just slowly working it out. That's really hard with one hand. I missed one. Let me get that. Right, that's going to help. Now give him another tap. Drag him round. Tighten them up a bit more. Having a feeling like I'm going to have to put this phone down soon and get that drift on it. So you start to see a little bit of movement in there, which is what we want. Just going to try and set this phone up somewhere where we can actually see what I'm doing. That's good enough for the bush. Give them a good sharp crack like that. Some of them are just starting to pop now. This drift is actually a little bit undersized. That's alright, so I'll tighten these up further. We're starting to get movement. I don't know if you can see that, but starting to get a bit more movement on that joint, which is what we want. Yeah, I've tightened that up, and now what I'm going to do is back these off. So it's going to take all of the tension off those studs. I'm going to tap them again. What you're trying to do is just slowly work this whole flange sort of in and out a little bit, just enough to get them to work free, and then you're good to go. You can pretty much just jack it all the way out. Oops. And screw them back in again. It's just a matter of working it in and out, and soon we'll be winning. See that starting to widen up there. I've got to be a bit careful. I'm cranking these pretty hard because I'm not too concerned about any of this. But you can see this is all actually moving now. I've actually won. But for the purpose of the video, I'm going to back this off again and just do it nicely. So back the screws back off again. And we've actually created probably a 2mm gap there. And I reckon this time all those little cones are going to just drop out. Just about. They are pretty well glued in, but yeah, some of them have just come free now. That one's actually completely loose. Right, I'm going to just put the rattle gun on and see how many of these are going to come out. See that? It's got the cone on it. It's just come the whole way out. That one's loose. That one's come out. Some of these look a bit tighter, but still tight. Let's jack that. Jack them back in. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just knock this axle just back in a little bit. Okay. There we go. Just doing that has loosened the remaining cones. That's all it took. Where are we? 12. These should all just come out. There we go. It's another one with the cone. On with the cone. Let's take these jacking screws right out. Cones out, and the last cone's out. So there you go. They've all just come out. Pretty much that's the pile of them there. And that's your axle. Now, depending on the seal, that can slip out by hand or it can not. Seeing as it's going to knot, now your jacking screws again. And this will be the final little, see that, just pushing it out. You should probably use two, but I'm being a little slack. That's just pulling that axle out, pulling that gasket apart. And that's my jacking bolt bottomed out. And that's your axle out. So that's how you do it. No crazy bashing of anything really, other than just the end of the stud with a drift. And if you've got a bigger drift than that, that's good. This is a little bit undersized, but it's just what I had on hand. And you'll notice I do actually have factory Toyota studs in here somewhere. That's one there. You can see, if it focuses, you can see a little dome on top of that stud. That's actually there to protect the stud from knocking on the end of it for this very thing. So your factory studs are going to have that. Non-factory studs don't always. Some of them do, some of them don't. But that's just something to keep in mind. Leave the nut on so that sometimes these do pop and that whole cone will just shoot off and you'll never see it again. Leave the nut on, helps protect the top of the thread. Leave that little dome showing, and that's what you want to be bashing on with your drift. Get one of Mr. Sharp's brass drifts if you can. Looks like a good bit of gear. Anyway, that's all from me. Good luck with it. Yep, but that's the way to do it. No need to butcher anything, just a couple of the right tools and they come out pretty cool. Anyway, cheers. Catch up.